Making a video. Yay. Probably. Mostly. Anyway. Yeah, light. Which one to go with? They're all so bad. Oh, that light went out. Yeah. Alright, technical difficulties. It's not the end of the world. So, holiday, no, that's not it. No, it'll end up being circumcision, eventually. But I just thought I'd mention a couple of little snarky shit remarks from shitheads. So, Holiday said this is his video, and somebody asked, a lot of downvotes here, big time, and then Holiday says, I guess it is in Mendham using his many accounts. So he's making the accusation that I'm using my many accounts for the purpose of down-rating his video. I've negatively flagged no videos. I've advocated that all that flagging crap should be public. We should be able to see who's flagging videos. It just makes sense. And I would say that should go back forever. And so, but again, I've offered people, you want to make an accusation imputing my character, well, I'll give you the right to, whatever it takes. You want to pay for whatever YouTube will charge. I don't know if there's some charge for it, but certainly I'll give you rights to all this information wherever it's held. But it's just such a slimy accusation, so I guess I might as well just make a counter accusation. You attempted to kill yourself 3 times. I think it's because you were starting to feel guilty about all those children you molested. There, okay, are we even? Is it fair? You just make shit up? You look like a child molester, I mean, frankly. Your lifestyle fits right in. There's lots of things indicating this must be the truth. Is that how you do your deduction? You can't figure out that suffering sucks. You can't figure out that conscious experience happens in the universe. There's not enough evidence of that fact. But you'll make these kinds of sloppy accusations? I mean, really, fuck you. I have better things to do with my life than press stupid little thumbs downies on videos. Again, I've never thumbed down one of your stupid, inane, retarded fucking videos. Ever. Jackass. God. Ugh. Puker. Anyway, and then then there's this numbly numb guy. Now he's supposed to be a good guy, right? But he's really not. He's one of these. He's very manipulative. And the arguments he uses are very manipulative. So, he pretends he's this fact checker, but he's not really checking facts. So I'll deal with him also on I'm going to do a physics video later, and, you know, he made a couple of comments there that, you know, just more evidence of how he manipulates, distorts, perverts by selectively quote mining Wikipedia to make arguments. And they're just petty. So on the subject of this circumcision thing, he's implying that he's some sort of objective observer of this conversation, and it's clear his point of view and his bias. So he's made the claim that the mass of your body, like this is one of his facts, the mass of your body is mostly bacteria. Now, it's not true. He said it as if it's a fact. He didn't fix it somewhere here. He doesn't say, well, I once made the accusation that the mass of your body is mostly bacteria. It's, you know, it's just not true, right? There's this stupid little meaningless truth, okay, that bacteria are little tiny things, and there's actually by number more bacteria on your body, in your body, by number than cells. But your cells are giant. You can kind of know that, right? Your muscle cells are huge. Your neurons are huge. These are huge cells. Your body is made of huge, evolved cells. And there's lots of primitive, tiny bacteria living in all kinds of little environments created inside your body. Fungus is also, as he's going to point out here. But, and that's a huge distinction, right? The distinction between bacteria and fungus is really important to people. No, I don't think so. Well, anyway, and so implying that somehow bacteria is a harmless thing, and that it's okay to have more bacteria on your dick. Good. No. Silly implication. Throat clearing. Anyway, okay, so anyway, where's your retraction? I don't know where it is. So did you make a retraction about this stupid, the mass of your body is mostly bacteria? It's fundamentally incorrect. It's wrong to say that. So here he says, okay, yeast is a fungus, not a bacteria. Well, it's barely a fungus. It's barely classifiable. That's why we call it yeast, without any qualification. But anyway, is this important to people? So if I said circumcision prevents 90% of the mold, or the fungus that'll grow on your penis, does that somehow sound like a less good thing? I mean, if people just called yeast, you said, okay, well, did you put fungus in the bread dough? I mean, it's okay with me. I'm just saying, do you think this distinction somehow makes it better? Somehow makes the argument sound less meaningful? Somehow changes the argument in some way? I mean, we could say that athlete's foot is a fungus. Well, we know how there's commercials on TV about athlete's foot and how to get rid of it, and you have to buy all kinds of special gels and shit. You can't just wash the fungus off your feet. So maybe all you people saying, well, all you need to do is wash your dick. Well, I guess maybe you don't. Maybe you're going to have to do something more than that, because if the thing infecting it is fungus, fungus is harder to get rid of. So you've advanced the argument how with this obnoxious thing, right? Yeast is a fungus, not a bad. And then he says, it should be interesting to hear about why I'm wrong about yeast, though. Like somehow I'm going to say that yeast isn't a fungus? Well, let's just understand, I didn't make any distinction. I just said yeast was a bacteria, which isn't technically correct, right? Because you have to say microbe. So if I said it's a microorganism, that would have been okay. But you can't say bacteria, because bacteria is a special class. Or phylum. So I'm just saying, for the people who think he isn't a petty weasel, I'm just saying, obviously he's a petty weasel. I mean, to make this mess for no purpose. Yeah, I never thought of yeast as a fungus, but that's just, like I said, I just didn't. Okay, but like I said, what you classify any of these bacteria as is kind of a subtle thing, because a lot of them don't reproduce in any standard way. They don't do a lot of, I mean, they're crude bacteria. You see, you can't say that. But I'm just saying, what classifies as fungus, I guess, mostly has to do with the capacity to produce spores and all that kind of stuff. So I'm just saying, how does having yeast on your penis better than, a fungus on your penis better than having a bacteria on your fungus? I mean, on your penis. I mean, please explain to me how this is an important fact. It's not. But go ahead, be a petty shit. Anyway, so I just thought I'd take care of that. So anyway, some asshole has made a video. Of course, assholes do that. I am a man, whatever. A man, I don't know what he is. Anyway, this douchebag. And I played a minute of it, so we'll just jump over the first minute, because he's just basically saying something like, and we'll see, the idea is he's using hypocrisy. Why? Oh, it's because I'm against suffering, and I guess he's going to argue that, again, circumcision is some sort of suffering more than any other suffering endured in the process of being created on earth. And apparently not going to make distinctions between the imposition of creating a living thing and then the responsibility to take care of it. So again, I don't know how you could possibly make a human being and then take responsibility for that creation by not imposing on it. I mean, if you don't impose restraints, a leash on your child, then that would be called abusive parenting. I mean, realistically, if you just let your 2-year-old crawl out into the street and get run over, you'd be called an abusive parent. Idiot. You have to impose once you've created the fucking thing, asshole. It's all your responsibility, douchebag. So anyway, for the first minute, he just defines what an antinatalist is, and then he gets to his... And I just watched because, I watched to the first point where he said something totally fucking, distorted and a lie. I waited for the first lie. And then I said, oh, enough of this. Thank you, YouTube, for playing the video. I mean, fuck, what the hell's the hang up here? Huh? Come on. Yeah, no ratings. Surprising. Anyway. I guess it's on a server in Mongolia or something. Come on. What the hell's going on? Yeah, technology is a little bit tough to control. So we'll just have to wait for it, I guess. I should get something done while I'm waiting. Oh, come on. What is going on here? I don't understand. I don't understand this. I mean, it's, you know, YouTube sucks and my internet connection sometimes sucks and all that kind of shit, but it's usually not this bad. I mean, come on. I mean, this doesn't routinely happen. That's why I'm not to blame for this. Yeah, I'm not to blame for this delay. Yeah, it's not my fault. It's YouTube's fault. YouTube sucks. Yep. Colossally now. I mean, this is really irritating. What do I do? Come on, play the video. I have work to do here. I just don't know what this is about. I guess I'll just reload a new tab, I guess. What else is there to do, right? I'll try a new window, see if it provokes any kind of different reaction from the browser. No. Let's see, no comments either. Surprising. So anyway, Cartman is his idol, I guess. So yeah, right there, you know, it's this idiot, right? Evil idiot, mostly. Well, maybe I'll just come back when this is playing. Yeah, maybe I'll do that because I don't feel like making some other video in the middle of this video. I don't think I do anyway. I guess I could go back to comments and find another stupid comment. You know, I mean, some people just, you know, they just keep making stupid. Yeah, there was a weird heroin church made some stuff about anti-bullshit man, and I thought it was a little way overdone. That he's some sort of bigot and all this kind of crap, and that was a little bit harsh. I mean, you know, when you found out what he really did, which is basically just tell somebody, you know, getting into the for money dirty sex trade probably isn't the greatest thing in the world to play. That's not the greatest playpen on earth. You know, to go play in, you know, the sex for cash business is probably not a very healthy place to be. Yeah, you might want to find a different recreation. I don't think that's too outrageous a statement. And frankly, if I cared about somebody, I'd probably say something like, oh, can't we find some other way for you to get a jolly? You know, I mean, it's just a little bit not the best place in the world to be. So again, it's just these people who want to glamorize the sex trade, and there's, you know, 90% of it is not glamorous. 95% of it's not glamorous. 98% of it is not glamorous. But it's, you know, it's almost like the Anna Konavods of the world talking about going to some awful place on earth, you know, some terrible city, you know, where people get shot on the street routinely and just, you know, like it's fun. It's fun to go to dangerous places and pretend you're 007 or something. It's stupid is what it is. You know, okay, it's fun for you, it's still stupid. Look, if somebody came up to me and said, I'm going bungee jumping, I'd say, okay, well, do whatever you want. But it's stupid. I mean, why do this? You really need to do this? You can't find anything. Oh, life is just too monotonous and tedious and horrible. I have to have some sort of excitement. You can't find any other way to get off. Nothing else can give you a boner but jumping off a bridge tied to a string. I mean, fuck. That sounds like an idiot to me. No offense. Sounds like an idiot. So anyway, so I've probably just been a horrible bigot against people who like to have group sex or whatever he's going to say. But you know what? I'm not. Go ahead, knock yourself out. I'm just saying if I cared about you, I would worry for your welfare. That's all. If that's just being sincere. Sorry, yeah, that's what that would be called, sincerity. You want to be offended because somebody cares that you're doing something that looks fucktarded. Go ahead, be offended. What can I? This is your prerogative. Knock yourself out. So anyway, yeah, I don't know why this video isn't playing. This is really. Let me try playing some other video, I guess. Let's see if some other video will play, and then we'll know, hey, it's a YouTube conspiracy. This is a video, an Mindem style type voiceover video. Well, that one plays. So it's just this guy's video just ain't gonna play, I guess. Apparently. It's not gonna play. I mean, it's not gonna play for me. Today. At this moment. It's in some dead space on the internet. I wonder if I could download it. I suppose I don't know. That probably wouldn't work either. I mean, if the browser can't get it, it's probably not gettable. Weird. Okay. Oh, well, he has evidence of pleasure. Circumcision decreases sexual pleasure. He has proof of that. Our government pre-med. I don't know what that's a weird site to be let's see. It's got 14 things attached to it, which makes it seem like it must be some sort of fake website, but fine. PubMed.gov. I don't think so, but whatever. As measured in a large cohort. This is science. Male circumcision decreases penile sensitivity as measured in a large cohort. This doesn't look like anything real. Who would say, a scientist would say, as measured in a large cohort? Come on, you're kidding me, right? What's known on this subject, question mark, and what does the study add, question mark. This is the abstract. This is how a scientist writes a scientific paper. Rhetorical questions. Yeah, I don't think so. The sensitivity of the foreskin and its importance in erogenous sensitivity is widely debated and controversial. This, in part, is the actual public debate on circumcision. It is for non-medical reason. Today, some studies on the effect of circumcision on sexual function are available. This is a scientist who wrote this. Yeah, sure it is. However, they vary wildly in outcome. The present study, the present one, wow, the studies suck. But the present study says, shows in a large cohort of men, again, what's cohort? Based on self-assessment. So he's arguing that a study based on what people testify to, that the foreskin has erogenous sensitivity. Wow. So you ask people with foreskin to touch their foreskin. Do you feel that? Yes, I do. Ah, okay. And then you ask the guys who don't have foreskin, touch your foreskin. Did you feel that? No, I didn't feel it. Because it isn't there. Yeah, that's right. Okay. Yeah, that's proof for sure. That's proof for sure. In the debate on clitoral, no, I'm not doing this clitoral thing. The two subjects are separate. If you idiots can't separate female whatever the fuck people do, all right, that's not this subject. So you have to understand, penises and vaginas are fundamentally different organs, and if you can't figure that out, all right, then you're really not part of this conversation. My penis would be a fundamentally different organ if it never got erect. It's just a fact, okay? I would think entirely different about my penis if it didn't get erect. I mean, it's just a fact. So this is totally dependent on function, purpose, and capacities. And there's just no point in talking about flaccid penises and erect penises and calling them, this is the same thing. It's not the same thing. Not even close to the same thing. Alright, anyway. It is shown that the foreskin is more sensitive than the uncircumcised glands. They've shown somehow that the foreskin is more sensitive than the uncircumcised glands, which the two things are different things, but I highly doubt that any of such showing has been shown. So show me the experiment where they tested the sensitivity of glands versus foreskin, which means that after circumcision, glandular sensitivity is lost. Says you. There's no evidence. Prove this again. I mean, the glands actually get bigger, right? So the head of your penis actually gets bigger if you're circumcised. So another advantage, my side, I would say. Just like having an erection, when you stretch the skin and tighten it, it becomes more sensitive. If you don't really understand that it's more sensual to have an erection than not having an erection, then you're pretty retarded. Okay, so none of this is shown. This is bullshit. In the debate on, no, I don't want to do this clitoral thing. In the present day, there's a strong evidence that the erogenous sensitivity of the foreskin. There's strong evidence on the erogenous sensitivity of the foreskin. Well, again, strong evidence how? Have you demonstrated that people who are uncircumcised have more erections, so sustain erections longer, or have more, spend more time in the vagina? Where's the proof of any of your accusations and claims? Oh, that's right, you don't have any. This knowledge hopefully can help doctors and patients in their decisions on circumcisions for non-medical reasons. So anyway. So what about the medical reasons? Like preventing fungus from growing on your dick. For preventing moldy dick syndrome. Giving women moldy infections with your penis. Yeah. To test the hypothesis that sensitivity of the foreskin is a substantial part of male penile sensitivity. That's its objective. You can't have it as your objective in the paper. But, well, whatever. To determine, this isn't the study, you idiot. This is a paper about the study. So, yeah, well, obviously this is a fake website. So, this study confirms the importance of foreskin. Let's see, subject. The study aimed at a sample size. The study aimed at a sample size of 1,000 men. It aimed? What did it hit? Given the intimate nature of the questions and the intended large sample size, the authors decided to create an online survey. Oh my, brilliant. Respondents were recruited by means of leaflets and advertising. What, online? Well, we can just say forget it, right? Oh, and this is even better. The analysis sample consisted of 1,059 uncircumcised men and 310 circumcised men. Well, that seems fair and balanced. No, it doesn't. For the glands of the penis, circumcised men reported decreased sexual pleasure and lower orgasm intensity. I doubt this intensely, the credibility of this. I've never met a circumcised man who said he knows what it's like to be uncircumcised and he knows he's having lower and decreased orgasm intensity. I mean, how can somebody report on something when they haven't done the two things? How can a person, how could it be even, like I said, I take it as not credible if a uncircumcised male said, I have decreased sensual pleasure from when I was circumcised. But I was never circumcised, of course. But I know I've decreased it because I'm now uncircumcised. I'd find that an incredible statement. So you can't see right off the bat, this is just a lie. This is just lying. Yeah, that's all this is. Anyway, no point. Right? There's no point. This isn't anything real. This is mush, nonsense, crap, shit, garbage. So again, I don't know this website. It's ncbi.nlm.nih.gov. I don't think so. I don't think the NIH has that many prefixes. I don't think so. But anyway. But this is not science. Clearly, online surveys where you have circumcised men testify to how much sensitivity they have lost from when they were uncircumcised. They spent 10 days maybe being uncircumcised. How could they possibly make a comparison? How could they possibly make it? Can't you, I mean, just on its face. If the NIH thinks this is worthy of publication, on that very fact alone, I mean, you've just got to wonder, can you trust them on any subject? No. So anyway, I say fraud. Anyway, so this isn't going to load, I guess. So I'll have to do this later. Because it's just not going to load, which is really fucking weird. I wonder if I sign in a different account. I guess I could load some other evil browser. Well, I don't want to do Internet Explorer. I think that's the one I got on this computer. But I guess maybe it's a cookie issue or something. I could kill the cookies, I guess. Let's see, where's that shit? It's gotta be here somewhere, right? I haven't done it in a little while. Show all history. No, I don't want to do that. I want to kill the cookies. Where's the kill the cookie thing? Oh, a private window. Maybe that'll work. Try a new private window. A private window. Everybody knows that's always works. Private window. Private window, just me and you window. Ooh. Okay, still not working. I guess this means private. They have a little whatever cartoon mask over there. Dress up games on the internet. Yeah, it's just not gonna load. So I guess I have to. Fuck. I just want to get this done and be on with the. Move to the next issue subject, so I guess I can't. I have to wait, I guess. Anyway, so I guess I'll be back. Fuck. Appears to be working now. So anyway, so this guy, I played it in the the V directory, just changed the thing, and well, anyway, a lot of videos aren't playing. YouTube seems a bit fucked up, or well, whatever. Flash is fucked up. Something's fucked up. Anyway, so he's this part just he's saying, okay, general hypocrisy on the subject of circumcision. So typical bullshit. Make accusations. Won't be making a rational accusation. Anyway, so he's going on to say anti-nihilism is imposing on kids. Okay, then this is where he gets to the stupid part right from the beginning.
So when you have kids, you impose life upon them, and life entails suffering. So you're imposing a circumstance on them which they might not agree to, because they're going to suffer inevitably. Makes sense. So he claims to be against impositions, and he supports circumcision, the act of imposing your...
Anyway, so this general statement that I'm against impositions is inaccurate. Like I said, the consent agreement's already violated once you exist. And I'm certainly for impositions of rules of proper lifeboat behavior, in the sense that just because you've been imposed upon and you exist doesn't mean you have license to do anything you want and all that kind of crap. So obviously I'm not against impositions as some word generically. I'm against unnecessary impositions, or impositions for personal gain, I suppose you could argue. Non-rational impositions. Yeah, okay.
aesthetic penis preference
There you
on
go. Aesthetic.
humans without consent.
Aesthetic penis preference. So again, we're just back to the same rhetoric. So you want to keep saying mutilation, you want to keep saying that it's for aesthetic reasons or religious reasons or all this other stuff, and it's just not true. So that's not why people choose circumcision. So, you know, you, again, what do you want to do? Counter your propaganda? I mean, clear propaganda. And you're going to call me the hypocrite when you're just using language full of propaganda?
I mean, some people do have consensual circumcisions, obviously, but he supports circumcising babies when they're born. So, this is obviously very hypocritical. Because how can you claim to be against imposition?
You know, by your rationale, should I be against immunization? I mean, that's an imposition. I think it has good reason to immunize children. Vaccines. So, what if somebody's for vaccines? It makes them a hypocrite if they say they're against imposing life, having kids. These are all the same subject, apparently. No, they're not. So obviously you're just being a propagandist. This is propagandist rhetoric to say I'm a hypocrite on the subject of circumcision because I'm for. Obviously being for vaccines wouldn't make me a hypocrite then, right? So you could just use some other comparison and then my hypocrisy somehow vanishes. So it's not real hypocrisy then, is it? No. So you're just being a propagandist. Fuck you.
When you would impose your circumcision preference on humans who can't say no. That's
right. I would impose a lot of things on a child. Once a child exists, I would impose a lot of things on a child. I would force it to wear clothes and do all the other things it has to do to maintain civilization. I would attempt to impose on it an appreciation for certain for intelligence and art and certain things. I would overtly attempt to skew its perspective in directions I thought were going to be in its long-term interest. And I would prevent it from doing stupid things if at all possible. So I would impose restraints on it and attempt to prevent it from getting caught up in some stupid addiction like, basketball or football or some other kind of nonsense.
That's an imposition. You support impositions.
Yes, I support vaccines. I support a lot of things. If you can, all we do is change the subject a little, right? So if there was exactly the same amount of intervention, so exactly the same physical procedure has to be performed, and that procedure would give your male child an extra inch of length on their penis and girth, an extra inch. So it makes it an inch thicker and an inch longer. You don't think most men would do their sons the favor of giving them that extra inch for what is demonstrated to be one of the safest surgical procedures performed in the universe? Yeah, I think they would.
Yeah, so it's just pretty bizarre. His arguments against circumcision are just all about health reasons.
Well, again, you said aesthetic a minute ago. So who's being hypocritical or duplicitous? Didn't you just say it was just for aesthetic reasons? And now you're saying they're for health reasons. Gee, I think that makes you duplicitous. Yeah. You're changing your story in the middle of your video. You haven't gotten through like 5 minutes of it and you're already changing your argument. Fundamentally different argument, isn't it? Aesthetics, health. Yeah, I think so, shithead.
He says it's healthier to be circumcised because if you're not circumcised, you're at higher risk of bacterial infections and I think a slightly high...
Well, again, we don't even have all the evidence isn't even in, right? I mean, there's this whole thing that hasn't been studied too much, but there's this whole implication that it might be males that give women their urinary tract infections and other infections. So, you know, these are real implications. You want to pretend they don't exist. You want to pretend they're nothing to evaluate. I'm just saying that quite obviously, just logically, you can understand that the foreskin is a place where stuff would get trapped, that the stuff getting trapped isn't going to be glitter or happy sauce or wonder juice or, you know, anything really fantastic. It's going to be fungus and bacteria, and fungus and bacteria, generally speaking, aren't great things to be shoving anywhere except in a toilet somewhere.
A cancer risk, you know, from a guy who smokes. We're supposed to believe that he's so concerned about health problem.
Well, again, so this is what you call a fair argument, right? I'm not pro kids smoking. I wouldn't impose nicotine addiction on a child. I've said before, if I could go back in time and change one thing in my life, the first thing I'm going to run back and do is take that first cigarette out of my mouth. So, again, how am I being hypocritical? Oh, that's right, I'm not. You're being duplicitous, manipulative, distortive. You're basically just lying. Bravo, you're a liar.
And health issues attached to circumcision, and he smokes cigarettes. Do you know how much that increases your risk of cancer and infections, Gary? Quite a lot.
Yeah, in the last part of your life, the part I don't really intend to live. So, you know, again, another perversion of the facts, right? Cigarettes don't kill you when you're 22 or 15 or any of that shit. They don't, whatever damage they do it late in your life, generally speaking. So, again, what's your argument? And there is some evidence that some people just happen to be sort of immune to those effects of cigarettes because, you know, genetically. And, you know, can't say for sure, never can say anything for sure, right? It just seems like, you know, my father smoked for 30 years and he's 93. And, you know, my mother's 95. She smoked. So, I might have a genetic advantage. But whatever, it doesn't matter. I'm not the subject isn't cigarette smoking. And again, I'm not pro nicotine addiction. I wouldn't give a kid nicotine addiction. So, again, where's my hypocrisy?
Quite a lot more than having some skin attached to the end of your penis. He says, he acknowledges that if most people are raised with foreskin, they won't want to be circumcised. Because he says they will have an attachment to their foreskin because they've grown up with it. Ignoring the fact that, you know, if you are circumcised, you're also going to have a biased attachment to your circumcised penis.
Yeah, exactly. So what's the difference? Right, so there's no real practical difference in the sense that your sensuality is going to develop to the penis you have, okay? I mean, a guy who has a 15-inch penis doesn't necessarily have a more sensual penis, or he doesn't have a better penis gratification or better orgasms or any of that stuff. So this whole argument that there's some more extra skin matters or more skin, more nerve endings matter, or any of these arguments really don't mean anything as a practical matter in terms of what you're going to use your penis for and how well it's going to function. So it's really not an argument about any degrade in functionality. It's just an argument about the fact that there is a decision to be made, that there are certain advantages to being circumcised, and I'm only arguing that rhetoric like mutilation is totally out of bounds. It's not reasonable rhetoric. People, men especially, are not mutilating their sons. It's just a stupid argument. They're choosing something because they think it might be in its interest, and that's all they're doing, and it's not an unreasonable choice. That's all I've said, you asshole. I'm defending the right of people to make a decision that is, in my opinion, not unreasonable and not be slandered by assholes like you.
Egotistical animals, and a man who is circumcised will say, well, there's nothing wrong with my penis, which is true. You know, there's nothing wrong with having a circumcised penis. But there are advantages to not being circumcised, which I'll get into in a minute. So yeah, this attachment.
Well, I mean, as long as you get into that conversation recognizing the fact that there are obvious advantages to being circumcised. So there's no real point in arguing advantages and disadvantages beyond, unless you want to get into some conversation where you're going to sit there and argue in advocacy and defense of some position. So I'm just saying, it doesn't have anything to do with the subject of whether it's mutilation or whether it's not somehow a decision. It is a decision. It's something that's not, you know, it's not like you don't have to think. You do have to think, and you do have to apply judgment. And that's all I'm asking, is you apply something called honest judgment of real facts, not propaganda, not mutilation rhetoric that doesn't have anything to do with the truth.
Argument really doesn't make sense, because you're going to be attached, if you're a man, you're going to be attached to your penis, whether it's circumcised or not. So don't talk about this bullshit of, oh, well, they're just attached to their foreskin because they've grown up with it. Obviously. Jeez. So, some of the benefits.
Well, show where I even made that argument. I didn't even make that argument. Okay? That's the argument I'm making, is that this excessive rhetoric from the people with foreskin is coming about because of their defensiveness, because they're the ones feeling somehow inadequate, and so they have to use excessive rhetoric in defense of their penis. They're the ones being the aggressors, okay? They're the ones attacking the circumcised position. So just get your facts straight, okay? It's not a bunch of circumcised men telling uncircumcised men they should be circumcised. That's not what's fucking happening, asshole. What's happening is a bunch of uncircumcised men are attempting to tell circumcised men that they're somehow wrong, and that they somehow, if they made such a decision, or their parents in making such a decision, were wrong, and that they were doing it to mutilate their child. That's your rhetoric, asshole, the rhetoric from your side. So, you know, you should at least understand who's the aggressor in this argument and who's coming to the argument with the propaganda, jackass. You ought to at least get that right.
Of having foreskin. Number one, studies have shown that men with foreskin experience more pleasure during sex. You can Google it.
Yeah, you can Google that all you want. What study? How the fuck could it possibly be done as a study? How could anybody make a comparison except men who got circumcised later in life, and those men don't report that? So you're already in fucking trouble, because if you render the survey on men who have actually been circumcised later in life, so they know what both sides are like, those men will testify that being circumcised is better. But then the argument is that those men have a bias, because why'd they get circumcised in the first place is because they found their foreskin to be in hindrance of some kind. They didn't like it. It got in the way. They thought it was fucking their sex. But the fact is, it was for that segment of the population. So you're going to lose that survey, and that's the only survey that matters. I mean, you really can't sit there and... I mean, you can't even figure out how ludicrous it is for you to tell me that a circumcised male is going to be able to say, oh, gee, it was so much better when I was uncircumcised. When they were uncircumcised for maybe 10 days. When they were unconscious, essentially, as an infant. And they're going to make a comparison. Yeah, right, fuck you. That's called propaganda again.
But I will leave a few links to some of the advantages in the description.
Well, if that's the best you got, if that's your best argument, we have a survey explaining how men who are circumcised are somehow having less satisfaction, which doesn't jive with the biggest survey ever done by Kinsey. But beyond that, it's a ludicrous proposition for you to tell me that a circumcised male can testify to what it's like to be uncircumcised. That is idiotic.
Where these studies have shown men with foreskins experience more pleasure during sex. And
You said the same thing again. Bullshit.
circumcised men are more prone to burning sensations when having sex and other general unusual sensations.
Well, isn't that bizarre? You're saying, the uncircumcised argument is that you have all this sensitivity and all these extra nerve endings, and somehow these circumcised men who have no feeling in their dicks, because they had all their nerve endings cut off, somehow they're having all these extra sensations. Well, isn't that interesting? Yeah, fuck you.
That's a big advantage. The orgasm is probably the best.
Oh, right. And it's the big non-existent, unproven advantage. Right. So your argument is the argument from really, 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 really bad science. I mean, as bad as you could possibly get. Yeah, great argument. Bravo. Fair cop? No.
And if you can have more pleasure and a better orgasm, great.
Well, again, the evidence suggests that the circumcised male has longer intercourse, and there's no indication of any problem climaxing. So, who wins in the vagina longer? Yeah, I think that's probably the thing that takes advantage. Yes, I would personally prefer. The longer the better. Yeah.
So another advantage could be that men who are circumcised are more likely to desensitize their penis through masturbation. Studies, again, have shown...
Alright, study. Again, you can't possibly study this, so that's just absolute nonsense. That's what this is. This is nonsense. And if you can't understand this is nonsense, then you're an idiot. And if you're going to argue that circumcised men even last longer when masturbating, I'll say great. But again, I don't know. What do you mean? 42 seconds extra? 17 seconds extra? I mean, I've done 0 to, climax in under 2 minutes. What do I need? How fast do I need to masturbate? Exactly. And that's somehow good? No. So again, wrong, backward argument. Thank you for making the argument for my side.
Too much masturbation can desensitize your penis because your penis becomes... Okay, so if you're...
Yeah, just make shit up. That's all this is. This is just made up. I've never heard anything so ludicrous in my entire life. I mean, no sale. I mean, there was times when I was on medication that, I could masturbate for hours. It was fun. Yeah, fuck you. You're an idiot.
Circumcised, you will need lube to masturbate. And if circumcised...
Just another lie. Lie some more, please? No, I mean, that's just stupid. And whether you need lubrication, I mean, that's an issue of, let's see, how do you even put that? That the fact is, uncircumcised men have more liberality in terms of how they manipulate their penis, okay? Because they don't have, their skin tightens, so they have a nice... Well, I don't even want to get into all these mechanics, but quite obviously there's more advantage to a circumcised male in the sense that he can lubricate and he can take advantage of that, where uncircumcised male just really can't get rid of that hunk of skin on the end of their dick.
Penis head is exposed to your hand, and when you're masturbating, this creates friction and can burn the head of your penis. So to compensate...
Again, the silliest thing I've ever heard, but whatever. Go ahead and say silly. Say all the silliest things you want to say. And having a bigger head on my penis is, again, that's another one of these advantage things. So you're making the argument for, not against. in my opinion. It's just another reason why circumcision is probably the way to go. Thank you for reminding me of another reason why circumcision is the way to go.
If this, your cells will get thicker to resist the burning and protect the head of your penis, which will consequently desensitize the head of the penis. Now, men with foreskin.
Well, again, it's you're arguing performance issues that I think it's pointless. You don't know that that's a worse condition. People actually sell desensitizing creams to men in male magazines. So there's an advantage to some lack of sensitivity. Idiot.
Have a natural barrier against this because they have a layer of skin between their hand and the head of their penis.
Right. Well, it's a hard sell to explain to me how that would be something I would want. So I think it's really great that there isn't anything between me and my penis. So you're, like I said, you're making my argument for me. I mean, having an extra condom on my dick doesn't sound like a great idea, whether it's natural or not.
So yeah, you have, if you're circumcised, you have more chance of desensitizing your penis through masturbation. So, lube costs also. If you're not circumcised, you have a natural lubricator. I don't know if that's a word. But yeah, there's a natural lubricant.
Well, that's not true. Your foreskin doesn't produce any substantial amount of any lubricant, and so all you can possibly create is oily scuzz. And I really don't think most women want you to put, if there was a bottle called oily scuzz lubricant, I don't think they want you to put that on your penis. So this is not an argument. And again, there's no evidence that there's any problem in intercourse having a circumcised penis. So this is just bullshit.
The head of your penis, so you can just use some spit or something and keep it in the foreskin and use that to masturbate. If you're circumcised, to have a good masturbation, you're going to need lube, and that costs money.
So, well, I thought I had heard the silliest argument, but that's the silliest one, right? I mean, I have a bottle of stuff. It's got to be 7 years old. I mean, come on. That's going to break me? Oh, shit, every 5 years I have to spend $3. You really are quite silly. I mean, no, you're incredibly silly. I have a bottle of baby oil. It had to be made in like 1984.
A private company for lube in order to masturbate, so you lose out on money. It also gives you a bigger dick, having foreskin. It adds an inch or two to your penis. How many men wish for a bigger penis?
Okay, now that's the silliest, right? It just gets sillier and sillier. An inch or two, it adds to your erect penis. I mean, who cares about what your penis is doing when it's not ready for action, right? I mean, I really don't give a shit about flaccid. All right, so exactly what's the advantage? There's no inch or two erect. And as you pointed out already, the head of the circumcised penis is bigger. And so there, I think, is the advantage. Idiot.
Yes. Maybe your penis is just, small from circumcision, and that explains all the tribal anger you have about this. Yeah, so that's 4...
Again, I'm not the one posting false reports on the internet. I'm not the one using insanely idiotic rhetoric. It seems to me like you people with the, fungus skin on your dicks are the ones who are incredibly defensive and sensitive on this subject. Seems to me.
There are examples of where having a foreskin can be an advantage, and you would happily rob men of those advantages. because of a few.
Okay, because of a few. Now let's see what this word is going to be. Yes, a few advantages that happen to be really kind of cool, like less fungus on your dick. Yes, a less moldy dick that causes less venereal disease and death. Oh, yeah, I think that sounds like a good idea. I'll go for that.
Few health risks. Why don't you let men decide? Why do you have to?
Well, as you already got that part right. You can't really let men decide because, again, the problem is it's a decision they're not going to make later in life unless there's something radically wrong with your penis. You're not going to fucking say, I'm going to go have penis surgery like willy-nilly. And we already know it's like a lot of other things. Why have tonsils removed in children? Why have a lot of things? Because, frankly, it can be done when they're a child with much less risk than it can be done later in life. So it's a decision you sort of have to make, one way or the other. I mean, most tonsillectomies are elective surgery. It's really not necessary, but they do it because they say, hey, I'm going to save the person some grief in their adulthood by getting rid of their often infected tonsils. You could argue that appendixes are the same way. Most appendicitis can be treated with antibiotics, but they choose to remove the appendix because they know in some future time this thing could be a real problem. And the older you are when you have the problem, the more risk is involved. You can go through measles, you can go through a lot of things. This is a real facts of reality. It's the facts of living on Earth. So again, just ignore those facts, pretend they don't exist, pretend there's no decision that has to be made. It is a decision that has to be made for the infant, for the individual. And you're either going to make it for its benefit or you're not. And that's but it can't be made later. I mean, you can convert this into so many other. What if there was a simple a procedure just as violent as a foreskin ectomy that you performed on a woman's breasts or something, right? And it made them 30% bigger in adulthood. So the woman would have a 30% larger breasts, and it just required this little tiny surgery. But if you did it later, it would require major surgery. So is that a decision that needs to be made? I mean, I personally would say don't do it just because of personal preference. I'm not a big Hooter fan. But we know that most of our culture is obsessed with breasts. And here's a simple little procedure. Yeah. How many men do you think would say, oh yeah, go for it, baby?
Impose your subjective value on foreskin onto men without giving.
Well, again, it's not subjective, and it's not like there's like no authority. I've actually been circumcised, so in the first place, I'm only using my own rationality. I'm saying, well, look, I'm perfectly satisfied with my penis's function. I think it's working. It's a perfect car. You buy a car and it works perfectly. It never fails. Never does a thing wrong. Are you not going to advocate for that? You wouldn't want to give your own kid the same kind of car? You'd say, no, I'll take a risk on, I mean, they say those cars are really okay, so I'll just go ahead and give them one of those. Even though you haven't driven it, you don't know anything about it, beyond the fact that they say, okay, it's okay, slimy and full of diseases. But even, see, that's the thing, that the point is that this isn't just about aesthetics, it isn't just about personal experience, it's about statistical facts. And I'm just saying there's an advantage to not having extra funguses and bacteria on your penis. It's just true. Shit.
Give them a choice like a fascist.
Okay, so another use of rhetoric. Now, you think that's fair rhetoric? You can call people fascist because they try to do something in the best interest of their own child. Right, that's being a fascist. And they're doing it for some malicious, horrid reason, like they believe it's in the best interest of their child. What a horrible thing to do. You just called people fascist who do something because they think it's the right thing to do. And you're calling them fascist. I mean, you know how fucking goddamn idiotic that is? What's the exploitation? What advantage does a male father have in this decision beyond trying to do the best he can for his son? I'm happy. I'm glad my father had the balls to do it. Can I say anything else? What am I supposed to say? I regret his decision? Well, fuck, I don't, idiot. I don't think he made the wrong decision. Why should I make some different decision? And you're calling that fascism. Yeah, fuck you.
Decided that circumcision is good, so that's it, folks. Over. He's just going to impose that on everybody and ignore all the advantages.
It's not being imposed on everybody. And again, everybody has to make the decision. I'm just saying, okay, it's your opinion that those advantages don't exist as anything substantive, and that it's better to what? What's your argument? Your argument's from nature or something? It's better to keep your appendix? It's better to keep your tonsils, just as a generic statement? And again, what's your counter-argument besides what? You're claiming my sex is less gratifying or my penis is less enjoyable? Well, that's your claim, but I don't think you have evidence to back it up. Yeah, whatever babies feel.
And kick off in Piro's hangout about anyone who is against circumcision, which is most rational people, because circumcision is a primitive religious practice designed to destroy male sexuality, and it was originally...
Yeah, you made that up too. Yeah, it was originally imposed by men on their sons. Sons who they intended to be king or emperor or the best or possess many women. You really think men actually thought, hey, I'm going to stop my son from having sex? You think there's a man somewhere who actually thought that? I'm going to prevent my son from enjoying sex. You think there was men who actually did this? Was routinely how men thought. Fuck you. Yeah, I mean, you know what? We might as well just paint idiot on him, right? I mean, come on.
Designed to prevent masturbation. Because the head of your cock is so dry that it burns.
I mean, really, this is just it's just idiotic, okay? You have absolutely no evidence that circumcision prevents, deters, does anything to prevent the friction possibilities of orgasm manually without participation of a woman's vagina. I mean, it is, I would almost argue, easier. Yes. To achieve orgasm. Circumcised. I'll race you.
To masturbate. So, you really have, no one can really justify circumcision for health reasons. I would rather...
Okay, no one can do that. So it seems like, so you're saying I'm the one saying what everyone has to do, and here you're the one saying no one can justify. You're the one saying it's impossible to think circumcision is reasonable or the right thing to do. It's impossible. No one can do that. You're the one making the obnoxiously aggressive statement again. You're the one getting in my kitchen, asshole. Fucker. Dumb idiot.
Tiny increased risk of some infections and maybe a slightly higher like cancer risk for...
So again, you're a tiny, it's not tiny, and again, just take the evidence where it leads. The conclusion is kind of obvious, all right, that there's this obvious connection between transmitting or transporting agents from one place to another if you have a suitcase to put them in. If you have a place to shove the little bastards, well then, yeah, they're going to move around better. And that's just the truth. And in our modern world, foreskin just isn't necessary.
Or better pleasure.
Well, frankly, I don't think it was ever necessary. I think it's vestigially just finding its way off the penis altogether. If we could give it another 500,000 years, I think it would just roll right the hell off the dick anyway. All by itself. It already knows it's an artifact.
Sex, less chance of your penis becoming desensitized. a bigger dick, not having to buy lube every time.
Okay, again, a bigger dick. It's just, look, if you would win the argument right there, we wouldn't have to go any further if you could prove bigger dick. All right, and I mean erect dick. So if you could prove some sort of bigger dick thing, okay? When you're saying bigger dick, all you're saying is you have this roll of skin hanging off the end of your penis. You don't, and you're calling that a bigger dick. Well, that's really not what my definition of a penis or a dick is, okay? So maybe you think the skin on your dick is your dick, but that's not how I'm looking at it. That's not how I'm feeling it, frankly.
I want to jerk off, you know, and he's so worried about the health aspect of it. You know, he's like, oh, I'm going to get more infections and I might get cancer of the penis. Smoking will also give you cancer and infections, Gary. In fact, it's much more likely to.
Well, again, the subject isn't smoking or nicotine addiction. And again, I'm not for giving babies nicotine addiction. So, again, what's this? How is this two subjects combined? No, they don't combine. So, again, that's more smoke and mirrors, more manipulation, more let's not pay attention to the facts, let's just use distortions and perversions and propagandize on the subject. So bravo. It seems like you're the fascist. That's what fascists do. Fascists lie. Okay? You're a liar.
But I don't hear you talking about banning cigarettes. In fact, you have a YouTube channel about how tobacco tax is evil.
Yeah, I have a website that basically says nicotine is a stupid addiction, but you know, taxation without representation is an evil vice, something like that. Okay, I mean, again, keep combining subjects. I'm not for cigarette addiction. I'm for giving addicts rights. Okay, people are addicted to food, they're addicted to lots of things. Majority addictions are not being taxed, to donuts, for example, or other vices. Alcohol, most especially, is not taxed anywhere near as aggressively as cigarettes, and alcohol kills children, innocent children, who have nothing to do with it. Fact. So it's just clearly majority vice versus minority vice, and I'm claiming that's unconstitutional. Now, I guess that's just too complex an argument for you to understand, but that's what I'm against. I'm against unfair taxation. If you're going to tax all the vices, then okay. But if you're just going to tax minority vices, that's not okay.
So don't try and sell us this
honest description of the circumstance. No, because we have this dishonest opinion that we would like to propagandize on. I see, you don't care about the truth, right? So you're just liars and defending an undefendable position. Yeah, you're the obnoxious lying aggressor here, not me.
Yeah, it's healthier shit because you smoke. You obviously aren't too concerned about all these health problems. So yeah, you really...
Well, again, you know, I just really don't mind comparing myself to the average human as a healthy organism. So quite obviously I have some consideration of health issues. So I would argue that I'm healthier. I mean, my blood pressure's been the same my entire life. You know, the same. Within 3 points. My entire life. But anyway, not really the subject. As I've already pointed out, I'm not pro nicotine addiction. I'm just pro not abusing addicts.
You are showing that you're an out of touch, old, cranky man who has no idea what he's talking about when it comes to circumcision. So, if everyone's disagreeing with you and you're clearly wrong, why don't you just shut up talking about circumcision? You're embarrassing.
Okay, the argument from, what, we got two arguments here. The argument from popularity, which doesn't mean much, plus the slander that somehow my position is the one without evidence. No, and it's your position, mutilation, religious reasons, all this other nonsense you're spewing that has nothing to do with the truth.
Yourself. You're clueless. You are clueless. You have silly justifications for it. You get extremely angry when anyone disagrees with you.
No, I don't get extremely angry with disagreements. I get extremely angry with liars. And you keep lying about my position. I shouldn't find liars, propagandizing, insulting, slandering liars obnoxious. I shouldn't get angry. Oh, fuck you.
Yeah. You deny all the advantages and...
Well, again, you don't have a demonstratable advantage. That's the point. There's not one advantage you claim to exist that can be demonstrated to be an actual advantage. And again, I'm not the one arguing that this is a slam dunk decision, that the truth of what the right thing to do is so fucking obvious it can't be missed. You're the one making that argument and not defending it. I'm making the argument in defense of the fact that there's a decision to be made and there's facts to be considered. This is not an obvious thing. It doesn't just say, okay, the truth is this is the right thing to do. No, there's facts to be considered, and I find it to be I've stated that if I had to make the decision, I don't know what I would do. It's really a tough decision. That's my claim, asshole.